Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Today's presentation is brought to you by the brave men and women of Team Funk and their constituaries. Without any further ado, let's talk H4 allocable activities and how we assign them to disbursements. Before we start, I'd like to remind you that in order to assign allocable activities to a disbursement, we do in fact need allocation methods and activity ratios. Here are the allocation methods and activity ratios I prepared earlier. Now, as we add and update contact disbursements, we'll be able to see a number of designations. To view an allocable activity drop-down list, let's select a designation that contains a joint federal and non-federal disbursement type. For instance, FRED for FEC, PAC and Party. It contains disbursement type joint federal, non-federal activity, and you will notice our allocable activity drop-down list appears. As we select this allocable activity drop-down list, you'll notice an administrative, generic voter drive, public communications. These are all allocation methods, and we have several activity ratios. Please also take time to note only allocation methods and activity ratios that correspond to the same designation above should appear in this allocable activity drop-down list. For instance, we have 3 activity ratios. However, in our drop-down list, we only have 2 activity ratios because both of these correspond to that particular designation, whereas the 3rd activity ratio corresponds to a different designation. Now, if you decide, hey, I would like to supply a custom percentage to this allocable activity, then guess what? You're in luck. Simply click this Assign Custom Allocation checkbox and supply your percentages. Please note, there are several validation rules that occur in this feature. For instance, when you do have the allocable activity drop-down list appearing, you must select one of these options. Likewise, if you are using custom percentages, again, you must select custom percentages. If not, you'll get a friendly validation error. Two other validation rules one must abide by is if we are selecting an allocation method, it must be from the same year as your disbursement issue date. Disbursement issue date is here. I must select allocation method that corresponds to the same date. Otherwise, you will get another validation error. Allocable activity selected cannot have a year or calendar different from the disbursement issue date. When selecting an activity ratio, the activity ratio must have a start date before the disbursement's issue date. If not, you will get this error message. Activity ratio must have a start date greater than the disbursement issue date. Okay. We can either supply percentages or not. And there we have it. We have assigned an allocable activity to this disbursement. Unfortunately, our H4 allocable activity presentation has come to an end. I do thank you kindly for watching.